Question number 8. So question number 8 wants us to solve quadratics by factoring, alright? So first things first, guys, whenever you're solving by factoring, you need to make sure that all your terms are on the same side so it looks like the standard form for quadratic, alright? So here we look at the first example. Do we have all the same terms, or rather all the terms on the same side? No, alright? So I need to move all my terms that's to the right to the left side. So to move a negative 6x to the left side, I would do the opposite of negative 6x, which is positive 6x, or add 6x to both sides of my equation. Would I add 6x to the x squared? No. Negative 12x? Yes, because that's the like term, okay? That would get canceled out, okay? How do I move a positive 2 to the other side? I would subtract 2 or do the opposite of adding 2, which is subtracting 2, okay? Would I subtract 2 from x squared? No. Negative 12x? No. Negative 5? Yes, because that's the like term. And this would get canceled. Now I would go ahead and calculate. So the x squared, I'm not adding or subtracting anything to it, so I bring it down. Negative 12x plus 6x will give me negative 6x, okay? Because I'm adding to a negative number, but I have more negatives than positive, so I get a smaller negative number, all right? I am subtracting 2 from negative 5. Negative 5 minus 2 is negative 7, because I'm subtracting from something that's already negative, so I'm making it more negative, okay? So everything canceled out here, so you're technically left with nothing, and 0 represents nothing, okay? So now we have the standard form for quadratic, okay? So now I'm going to convert it to factored form. So factored form is 2 pairs of parentheses, okay? So the first thing we can put is that we can put 2 sets of x's inside of that parentheses, because we know that x multiplied by x gives me x squared. Now I'm going to find all the numbers that multiply to give me 7, which is 1 and 7, and that's the only pair that multiplies to give me 7, okay? So that means that's the only pair that I can use. So inside of the parentheses, I'll put a 1 and a 7. Now I need to figure out the signs, okay? Whenever I see a negative sign right here, guys, I need to always think about different signs, okay? So that means that one of them will be a positive number and one of them will be a negative number. All right, so that's what different signs mean. So let's test out these numbers, okay? If I had a positive 7 and a negative 1, what is 7 take away 1? 7 take away 1 is positive 6. But do I want a positive 6 right here? No. I need a negative 6 right here, okay? So I cannot use a positive 7 and a negative 1, all right? So what if I had a negative 7 and a positive 1? What's negative 7 plus 1? That is negative 6. And what do I want? Negative 6, okay? So that means I'm going to have a negative 7 and a positive 1, okay? However, guys, the question tells me that I need to solve, all right? Whenever a question tells you to solve, you are finding something, all right? In this case, we're finding x. So again, when a question tells you to solve, you're finding what? X, okay? So once you get it to factored form, I need to get the x values from here. To get the x values, guys, all you're going to do, guys, is flip the signs of your factored form, okay? So now we're going to flip the signs, okay? So when I flip a positive 1, I get a negative 1. So that's my first answer. And when I flip a negative 7, I get a positive 7. And that's my second answer, okay? So both of these are my answers, okay? So again, guys, just like that, okay? So let's try the next one. So the next one, guys, all right, we're going to do it the exact same, okay, but it looks a little different. So let's take our time when we're doing this one, okay? So again, the first thing we're going to do is make sure everything is on the same side. Is everything on the same side? No. So I need to move this positive 1 to the other side. To move a positive 1 to the other side, I'm going to subtract 1. Am I going to now subtract 1 from x squared? No. From negative 48? Yes, because that's the like term, all right? So that gets canceled out. So the x squared, I'm not adding or subtracting anything to it, so I'm bringing it down. The negative 48, I am subtracting from it, all right? So when I subtract negative 48 by negative 1, I get negative 49. Because I'm subtracting from something that's already negative, so I'm making it more negative, okay? 1 minus 1 is, they cancel out, or you're left with 0, okay? However, guys, we still need to factor a question that looks like this, all right? So to factor a question that looks like this, guys, all right, you're going to write your same factored form, which is 2 pairs of parentheses. Then you ask yourself, what two same numbers multiply to give you this constant, all right? What two same numbers multiply to give you 49? 7 times 7, all right? So again, to get an x squared, we write our 2 x's. But to get a 49, I'm going to write 2 sets of 7s. All right, good job, guys. Okay. And again, just like before, we see a negative beside of the constant. So that negative means we're going to have different signs. Okay. So that means, but because they're the same number, it doesn't matter which one has different signs. It just matters that one of them is going to be positive, one of them is negative, or vice versa. Okay. So now we need to go ahead and solve. Solve means that you're finding x. So to find x, what would I need to do to these x values, guys? I would need to flip them, all right? So my first x value would be the flip of a negative 7, which is a positive 7. And my second x value would be the flip of a positive 7, which is negative 7. All right? So again, guys, just like that. Okay? So now let's try the next one, guys. So when we try the next one, guys, first things first, we need to make sure that everything is on the same side. So, yep, we see everything is on the same side because you cannot add or subtract 0. Okay? So now I'm going to go straight to factored form, which is 2 pairs of parentheses. Okay? So to get an x squared, I need an x and an x because x multiplied by x is x squared. All right? Now I'm going to find all the numbers that multiply to give me a 54, okay? Those numbers are 1 and 54, 2 and 27, 3 and 18, 3 and 18, all right? And then 4 does not work, okay? 5 does not work, okay? Then 6 and 9. Okay, and then I think one final one also works. 7 does not work. So I actually believe that these might be all the pairs. Okay, so now I need to figure out which pair would add or subtract to give me 15. Okay, so when I look at all my pairs, both 3 and 18 could work, and 6 and 9. So now I need to figure out which one of both of these pairs, because both of these pairs could work. So I need to figure out which one is going to be used, okay? So I need to use my hints. So in this case, guys, I see a positive sign beside of that constant. And whenever I see a positive, it doesn't mean different. It actually means same, okay? So it would be either 2 positives or 2 negatives. So let's test our numbers, all right? So if I had a 3 and an 18 and I use 2 positives, all right, what's positive 3 plus 18? That's positive 21. But we need a 15, okay? So let's try 2 negatives. If we had a positive 3 and a positive 18, or sorry, a negative 3 and a negative 18, if we try 2 negatives, negative 3 minus 18 is negative 21. So both of these did not work. So we can assume that 3 and 18 is not going to be my pair. Okay? So I would use my 6 and my 9. but I still need to figure out the signs, okay? So if I had, again, we see same, we see a positive here, so we think about same. So it's going to be either two positives or two negatives, all right? So let's see which one would work, okay? So if we had a negative 6 and a negative 9, negative 6 minus 9 is negative 15. We wanted a 15, but did we want it to be negative? No, all right? So this one would not work. So we can assume that if we had a positive 6 and a positive 9, 6 plus 9 is positive 15. And what do we want? Positive 15. So that means that the 6 and 9 are both positive numbers, okay? However, guys, the question does tell us to solve, so that means we're finding x. So to find my x values, what am I going to do to my factored form? I'm going to flip the signs, okay? So my two answers for x is going to be when I flip a positive 6, negative 6, and when I flip a positive 9, a negative 9. So my two answers for x are negative 6 and negative 9. So again, guys, just like that.